Hello, I am Raider Pilot Steve, and this is my review of the Shuttleworth Best of British Airshow 2025, which was held at Old Warden, home of the Shuttleworth collection. What wasn't obvious by the name, the show focused primarily on British aviation. There was also a small micro-theme of the University Air Squadron centenary, which was reflected in both the static and flying displays. Unfortunately, the Great British Weather also decided to attend the show, which led to a big shake-up of the flying lineup as the lighter and more delicate aircraft were not able to fly due to the, at best, blustery conditions. The planned evening section of the flying display was also cancelled ahead of the show due to the predicted conditions, which was probably the right decision. The engineering hangar was very full, with multiple aircraft operated by the Shuttleworth collection undergoing maintenance and other works. These included the Avro Tutor, the Hawker Hind, and the Percival E2H Mughal. The Sopwith Camel F1 replica was on display in the outer hangar. Some non-collection aircraft were also residing inside the hangar, including Arnaldo Leon Ryan STA and the Miles M3A Falcon Major from Shipping and Airlines, which was awaiting repairs after a landing incident at the VAC fly-in held here at Old Warden. One of the Cambridge Flying Group's de Havilland DH-82A Tiger Moth 2s was also out and about for pleasure flights prior to the flying display and the worsening weather. The showground had a pair of aircraft on display to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the University Air Squadron. This was represented by Royal Air Force Grob G115E2 to T1, which is part of Oxford University Air Squadron. There was also a Scottish Aviation Bulldog T1, which had served with multiple University Air Squadrons while serving the Royal Air Force, including Yorkshire, Northumberland, Cambridge and Bristol. The University Air Squadron was founded on the 1st of October 1925 with Cambridge University Air Squadron under the command of No. 6 Flying Training School. Oxford University Air Squadron was founded 10 days later. There was also a selection of visiting aircraft on display in the paddock and along the main flight line, including David Bremner's immaculate Bristol Scout C replica, a trio of de Havilland Canada DHC-1 Chipmunk T-10s that were all ex-Royal Air Force aircraft. Two of the aircraft previously served under various University Air Squadrons and are both wearing Cambridge University Air Squadron colours. A CEA Jodel DR-1050 Sicily, a Cessna 182J Skylane, a Fuji FA200 Aero Subaru, a French-registered Jodel DR-1053M, a French-registered Mudry Cap 10B, and a Sling Aircraft Sling 4. The show was opened by the Slingsby T-13 Petrel in the hands of Graham Saw, which performed some graceful sweeping passes as it descended. The glider was towed up to height by the Shuttleworth Collection's Piper PA-18 Super Cub. Next was a display highlighting aircraft used by the University Air Squadrons. This featured the Shuttleworth Collection's de Havilland DH-82A Tiger Moth 2, which led a de Havilland Canada Chipmunk T-10 and a Scottish Aviation Bulldog T-1 for a series of formation flypasts before splitting off. The two monoplanes performed a variety of tail chases and formations, which was then followed by the Tiger Moth putting on a short aerobatic display. An unlikely aircraft associated with the University Air Squadron was the Avro Anson, which were used for a time to teach multi-engine skills to flight students. This was represented by the Shuttleworth Collection's Avro Anson 19, which put on a lovely solo routine. Probably the stars of the show for many was the quartet of Mercury-powered warbirds. This saw the Shuttleworth Collection's Western Lysander Mark IIIA and Gloucester Gladiator Mark I being joined by their Duxford-based contemporaries, the Fighter Collection's Gloucester Gladiator Mark II and the Aircraft Restoration Company's Western Lysander Mark III. The four-ship performed several loose formation passes before separating into two sections of paired tail chases. The two Lysanders then formed up for some formation passes, and the display was concluded by the two gladiators performing a more intense tail chase. This display showcased some very rare warbirds, with the two Lysanders currently being the only airworthy examples in Europe, and the two gladiators being the only airworthy examples in the world. Early jet action was then the focus of the show, with the de Havilland DH-100 Vampire FB-52 from the Norwegian Air Force Historical Squadron. The Vampire put on a very sleek display in spite of the worsening conditions. This jet is currently wearing 502 Ulster Squadron markings as well as the serial WA123 to celebrate the 100th anniversaries of both the Royal Auxiliary Air Force and 502 Ulster Squadron. Up next was a segment revolving around aircraft built by Miles Aircraft. This saw a formation of the Shuttleworth Collection's Miles M2L Hawkspeed 6 and a pair of Miles M14A Magister 1s owned by the collection and David Bramwell. After flying together as a trio, the formation separated and saw the Magisters fly together for some passes and a tail chase, followed then by the Hawkspeed 6, which performed a solo display. Vintage aerobatics were then showcased courtesy of the Shuttleworth Collection's de Havilland Canada Chipmunk T10, which is marked up as an aircraft operated by the Royal Canadian Air Force. Racing heritage was represented by the iconic de Havilland DH-88 Comet Grosvenor House, which gave a thrilling account of its speed and power. This aircraft is owned by the Shuttleworth Collection, and since its return to flight in 2014, it has been a regular performer at Old Warden events. The only non-British aircraft to display as part of the flying programme was the German-built Dornier Do-28A1, which was added to the lineup to replace some of the cancelled items. This Old Warden-based aircraft put on a very impressive display, with lots of topside passes, and also showcased its excellent short field capabilities when taking off and landing. The penultimate display was a section that paid tribute to Westland Aircraft, which was initially founded in 1915 and was succeeded by Westland Helicopters in 1961. Both eras of this company were represented, starting with the Gazelle Squadron, which performed an entertaining display of a pair of Westland Gazelle helicopters, including a HT-2 and a HT-3. The helicopters were then joined in the air by the Shuttleworth Collection's Westland Lysander Mark IIIA and Supermarine Spitfire LF-5C for a series of coordinated loose formation passes. This Spitfire is an appropriate addition to this display, as it was actually built by Westland Aircraft at Yeovil in 1942. The Lysander then performed a solo routine in the now very grim skies. As the aircraft came into land, the two Gazelle helicopters formed up for a low-speed formation pass to conclude this segment. The show was closed by a pair of Supermarine Spitfires, and saw the Shuttleworth Collection's LF-5C being joined by the Old Flying Machine Company's LF-9B. The pair performed a wonderful display that featured formation passes, a tail chase, and an excellent solo display by the LF-9B. In conclusion, the Shuttleworth Best of British Airshow 2025 was a very entertaining affair, which was not helped by the tricky weather conditions. The organisers deserve a lot of praise for putting on a very varied flying programme in trying circumstances. My personal favourite displays were the four-ship of Mercury-powered warbirds and the tribute to Westland Aircraft. I also really enjoyed the closing display by the pair of Spitfires. If you wish to see more of my photos from this event and others, I have linked my Flickr page in the description below. My next show will be the Duxford Battle of Britain Airshow. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe, and I hope you join me in the next one. Bye!